Hey guys, what's up? I'm Greg, he's Q, together we're Mr. Happy 0121. And today, we're talking about Better Call Saul. Season 2, Episode 1, Switch. It's been a year since we've done this, so it may take us a moment to get back into the swing of things. Not a lot of plot development this episode. It was literally one gigantic Easter egg. AMC's doing an after show for Better Call Saul. Was it Talking Saul?
Yeah, it was Talking Saul.
We have not watched that yet. This is just some notes that we wrote down as we watched this episode. So maybe we'll have some things that they didn't, or maybe they'll have some things we did and do it better. Who knows? We're going to get right into it. The way this works is I hit a few plot points, and then when Q has something to say, he jumps in here or there. He is the Breaking Bad expert. At the end of the video, we give our grade. This week, we're doing the 1 through 100 grade. But I think next week we're going to go back to the very original grading scale we had in our very first reviews, the Breaking Bad grading scale. We're going to get that figured out, and by next week we'll have the new scale in place. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, the way this started this season is much like last season. Black and white.
Black and white.
Depressing. He works in a Cinnabon.
Soul crushing.
I don't really know. Last season really set the stage because you saw what his life was, and then he played the tape. I think this season was just more of the same. Showed him taking out the trash, and he gets locked into the trash room. He's given the option of being locked in and not knowing when he's going to get out, or hitting the emergency exit and the police coming. Which this displays he's still on the run. He can't do that because he's got a fake identity. The last thing we see when he finally gets out of the room, he carved into the wall, SG was here.
Saul Goodman.
Saul Goodman. Which to me signified somewhere deep in his mind, Saul is still alive. My hope is that when this show ends, he will be back as some form of Saul Goodman. Okay, so the timeline for the show is this. It takes place 6 years before Breaking Bad. Season 1 was 2002. This is now 2003, but they don't give us a month. That's where we are in the timeline. We start with kind of the end of last season, and it confused you and I both for a minute. We showed Jimmy turning down Davis in Maine to work as a lawyer in an office, and then it jumps back into the part where he gets in his car and hums Smoke on the Water, much like last season. That's where we kind of caught up. We're like, okay, they were giving us a little more of what the last season was. We then jump over to Mike. Mike wasn't in this episode much. Mike was back in the parking garage where he first met Price in Season 1, Episode 8, I believe.
Yeah.
Now Price has gone from driving a soccer mom van to a big pimped out Hummer.
He's getting too flashy.
Way too flashy, and it's going to cost him. Mike, being the smart guy he is, fires himself. That's one way to put it. So Price goes into the desert to meet Nacho alone. Big mistake. Nacho, of course, takes a look in the glove box because Price invites him in. When he's in there, I think Price is counting the money. Nacho takes a look in the glove box and sees the registration and insurance.
The guy who's counting the money went to the back of the car for some reason?
Yeah, to count the money.
Oh, yeah.
Out of view, just conveniently, so Nacho would have time to look at his registration and insurance, which revealed him to be Daniel Wormald. So Nacho got the address, and of course you knew that this was going to end badly for Price. We now skip to Saul in a pool, and this is where the show becomes one giant Easter egg literally for the last 40 minutes. And at this point, he's going under the alias Mr. Cumpston. If you're wondering what kind of dip he had in the pool with him, he had a little floaty of dip. It was crab dip.
Oh.
There's your inside info for this episode. At this point, Kim comes poolside to meet him. She tells him that if she wants to talk to him, that if he wants to talk to her, she has to come into the bar. We're cutting through a bunch here because not really much in the way of plot progression. While at the bar, Jimmy's trying to explain why he's no longer a lawyer. At which point, first Easter egg of the episode really comes into view. There is a guy at the bar being very loud.
Obnoxious. He has a Bluetooth.
Yes, that's number one. I'm sorry to those of you that use a Bluetooth. It just screams douche.
Don't use it out in public.
Yeah, don't be that guy having a loud conversation. Always, it seems like you're in the line for a movie theater ticket or somewhere, and then they're putting on a show for you. Now, the guy at the bar, do you recall seeing him anywhere before?
Yeah, at the gas station, and Walter White like blows up his car or he does something. Yeah.
Ken wins.
Ken wins.
Season 1, Episode 4 of Breaking Bad, Walter White blew up this douchebag's car. Well, guess what? In this episode, he gets it again in a manner of speaking. This was where we're going to tie into our second Easter egg. At some point while Jimmy, and I'm going to refer to Saul as Jimmy or Saul just depending on the mood, and Kim are sitting, Jimmy goes ahead and orders 2 shots of $50 tequila under the name Mr. Cumston, which Kim quickly puts the kibosh on. Well, after a few minutes of speaking, Jimmy then talks her into coming over and observing what it is he wants to do instead of being a lawyer. So they run this scam on Ken Wins, because I don't know Ken's last name, wherein they have a large inheritance and they're wanting him to invest it. They sit down to drinks with Ken. In the course of doing that, they trick him into buying them an entire bottle of $50 tequila shots. Once they finish the bottle...
Now, he doesn't know that the shots cost $50.
No.
He's playing it up. He's like, just get what you want. And then
he just tells them to order what they want. And so Kim orders those shots, and he includes himself. So they're doing 3 shots of $50 tequila at a time, and they kill the whole bottle. At the point that the bottle is finished, the waiter brings over to Kim the top of the bottle. Now, here is Easter egg number 2. Do you know where we've seen the topper of this bottle before?
I sure do.
Where's that?
The episode where Gus poisons all those dudes.
It was season 4, episode 10. Gus brought this bottle with this cork and this top as a gift. He ended up using this tequila to poison everyone there. So season 4, episode 10 of Breaking Bad, that topper had made an appearance. So now we're just in Easter eggs left and right. At this point, Jimmy and Kim go ahead and fake sign their names to some paperwork to seal a deal with Ken Wins, leaving him with an astronomical bill.
They also use obscure aliases.
Yes, and I didn't write those down. They said they were from South Africa.
Yeah.
All right, now the name of the episode where Gus brought the booze out to the desert to the guy whose name I can't pronounce was Salute. It was episode 10, season 4. Now, we are back on the Easter egg train. We now cut to Price, who is entering his modest home with his big, ugly yellow Hummer out front. His home has been ransacked. See, I really thought that Nacho was going to, home invade him, beat him up, tie him up, and make him show where the pills are. And they don't give any indication that Price thinks that his home was broken into and ransacked by Nacho. He's telling the police who show up that he thinks they're after his prize baseball cards. But now, he's a little smarter than he lets on. We'll explain that in a minute. Because as I'm watching this, I'm thinking, is this dummy really thinking they were there for baseball cards? No. He still doesn't seem to let on that it's Nacho.
And I noticed that when he started questioning about, the cops started questioning about the money, he neglected that and just kept hammering with details about the baseball cards to distract from that.
He should have never called the cops. But of course, this guy is not that smart.
No, he's not. 2
officers arrive at the scene. Officers Baker and Saxton. Saxton's white, Baker's black. Easter egg number 3. Saxton had appeared in Breaking Bad. Season 3, the episode IFT, I Fucked Ted.
You did?
I didn't. Skylar did. She called the police in that episode on Walter White for breaking and entering, but he couldn't break and enter his own house. At which point Saxton said to her, has he broken any other laws? If he has, I can,
Yeah.
And Skylar, I don't remember. See, this is where your expertise may come in. Did Skylar know anything at that point in season 3?
Season 3?
I don't believe she did.
I don't remember. I think she did, because I thought that...
The point was that she didn't turn him in?
Yeah, that's what kind of made it tense for a second.
Okay, well, there you go. We can remember Saxton in the episode, but we can't remember the outcome. Our first weakness. We're not perfect. It's been a while. But yeah, Saxton had appeared in the Breaking Bad universe. So we've had 2 appearances by people right in the first episode of season 2. And it only makes sense that this guy, he is a cop in this town, that you may see him more often. I'm surprised he didn't show up in other episodes. This is where you got to kind of remember certain things. Early on, Nacho came to Jimmy, I think it was episode 2, and he explained that he liked ripping off, that was episode 3, he liked ripping off other criminals because they don't file charges.
Oh, they don't call the cops.
Yeah, he told him this explicitly. So what did Price do? Being an amateur criminal, he called the cops. Price is in looking at other collectibles, I don't know, baseball cards, whatever.
He's in a different room.
When the police, about the same time on the show, noticed what I noticed. The house was in complete disarray except for a very clean half a circle in front of the couch, which would indicate someone had moved the couch back. So while Price is in the other room doing it, he's really convenient at leaving and leaving people to do things against him. Cops move the thing back, see a loose floorboard, pull it back, see a hiding place. Now, I was expecting to see boxes of pills in there thinking that maybe somebody had missed it. Yeah. Nothing. It was empty. But it was enough for the police to know that this dude, Price, was on to something. There was a very major plot point we just jumped over. Right at the end, Jimmy ends up calling Davis in Maine and accepting the job after all. Kind of to bookend him being locked in the trash room, this episode ends with a light switch that very blatantly has a sign and tape over it that says, always leave on, do not turn off.
Yeah.
He very methodically rips the tape off and turns the switch off just to see what happens.
Nothing happens.
And then puts the tape back. Kind of speaks to his character. There was no reason for him to do that other than he wanted to do it. Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul.
What's your grade? What do you give it?
A 94. 94.
94?
94.
You went into endorsement mode for that.
Oh, see.
A 94.
I didn't know what my grade was until I said it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I knew what my grade was, and it's right on point with yours. A 94. I think in retrospect, if you went back and watched our very first one of these for season 1, we may have given that one a higher grade. But I think this was a better episode than season 1 last year. We were just so happy to see him last year. Here's one thing in that timeline that we're not taking into consideration. What season was it when Saul Goodman comes on to Breaking Bad?
Season 2, I'm pretty sure.
So, in actuality, we have 7 years for him to be that Saul Goodman. Because there can be the first year of Breaking Bad where he has no interaction with Walter White, that if the show was popular enough and they wanted to, they could run it through that season and it not be the two interacting.
They could.
I'm thinking that probably if I were making Better Call Saul, it would end with him getting the hood ripped off in the desert. Credits. That would be me. For those of you that watch Breaking Bad, very small audience, that would be my end to Better Call Saul. What would yours be? Do you have one? Do we discuss that next week?
I don't have one. I would like for them to see, to pick up, you know how it starts in the future?
Right.
I would like to see, some closure on that. Not just, in the show with him becoming Saul, but we get to see what happens after the Cinnabon and all that. And yeah.
I would like to see that, but I just don't think they're going to do that. I think that they're going to close it in such a way that it's open-ended, that you hope or think he's going to go do something. But that's all we got for this week. We'll be back next week with a new grading system, and we'll be a little better, a little more streamlined. Again, we were a little rusty. It's been a year.
Has been a year.
Literally a damn year. They only make 8-10 episodes and take 11 months off. They're lazy. Thanks for watching. Stay vigilant.